Good morning guys and welcome back. I had a really bad night's sleep last night, I'm not gonna lie, and my eyes are so puffy as a result. It started on Monday, had one bad night's sleep out of nowhere. I generally sleep pretty well these days, and then you start overthinking going to sleep and whether you're gonna sleep well, and then yeah, I've had a couple of nights this week of just not optimal sleep. But we move, I've had my coffee already today, and I'm just grabbing my overnight oats, which I made in the last video. So these are literally the ones that I was making at the end of the last video when I was doing my Sunday meal prep with you guys, which hopefully was a helpful, like a little segment to the video. But I just thought I'd show you what I add to these. I mean, I probably showed this before, but I always try and add something like flaxseed or like a flaxseed blend. I love these ones. This is from Linwood's and they do lots of different varieties, and I just literally add a spoonful. But this one is flaxseed, biocultures and vitamin D. And now I'm looking at that, I'm not actually too sure what biocultures are. And then I have just defrosted some berries. There's some chopped strawberries and some blueberries. I'm not gonna tip it too far to show you because I'm probably gonna end up falling out. But in the winter, I've actually been opting more for frozen ones because obviously berries are just not in season at all at this time of year, and I'm about to pull that all over myself. But that just makes the most delicious, nutritious breakfast, which takes me honestly 1 minute to sort, which is amazing. I washed my hair before bed last night and just roughly blow dried it like with a brush, and my hair literally is like Hagrid when I do that. And it's not, honestly, it's not even that bad today, because I've slept on it, but it just goes like, because I've got such a natural, I wouldn't say I've got like naturally curly hair, but it's like very wavy, I would say. Like it's very much not straight. And I feel like if you've got hair like that or curly hair, you know it's either a case of air drying it with product in, so it like air dries nicely, or drying it and doing something else to it. And I often go down the route of just air drying it, or using my new TikTok shop brush, which maybe I'll show you because it's gonna have to come out today. But I've been absolutely loving using that just because it's really, really easy. I can't seem to get my hair to hold the like curly bit, that's the only thing. So I need to try and like add a few different products in and see what I can do. This is gonna be delicious. This is probably the last moment of peace I'm gonna get downstairs in this house today, because Elliot today, very exciting, but actually has a launch for his clothing brand Mutual Differences, and it's for the hoodie and the tracksuit bottoms that I'm wearing now. And also that you might see me wearing it in another video. I can't remember if I have or not, but also like a mauve color hoodie, which I'll show you. But he's had so many issues with supply chain with his brand, bless him. It's been a really, really tough year. And I'm pretty sure this is actually the first like drop of new things they've had this year. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do amazingly just because the colors, like this kind of like pistachio-y green color and the mauvey color hoodie are just literally so nice, and the tracksuit bottoms just fit so well. Elliot's got that tonight and he's been working on it with one of his best friends, Charlie, and they've literally been taking up the entire downstairs of this house all week to do like product shoots and like work and have meetings and things like that. But yeah, the actual launch is tonight, so I will put the website down below if you want to go and check them out. It's just basically lovely, incredible quality hoodies and tracksuit bottoms for the first launch, and they've got so many nice things coming up. It's like technically menswear, but it's also very much unisex, hence me wearing it today. So I thought we could do a little Q&A focused on fitness, gut health, and everything kind of that comes with those two things. I've asked for some questions on Instagram and you guys have asked lots of really, really good ones. I thought to do this because 2 out of 2 weekends I've had the same question from women, which I've been out at something where everyone's drinking alcohol and they've been like, oh, do you drink? While I'm holding a drink in my hand, obviously it could have been a non-alcoholic drink. And I was really taken back by that because I was like, they were 2 people that I've known for quite a long time. So they've seen me in lots of situations where they would have been aware that I've been drinking before. I think their thoughts were, since I've changed a lot with my diet, maybe I don't drink anymore. And my response was, yeah, of course, because I've always drunk and I probably will always drink alcohol. So I was like, let's do a proper like in-depth Q&A. Okay, so first one on topic, views on drinking alcohol effect on progress and gut health. So this is so person specific. I can only really speak from my point of view. I personally feel like if you are doing everything in moderation moderation, and if you're drinking alcohol, like a few glasses of something once a week, it's not going to be detrimental to your progress when it comes to fat loss. Having said that, if you're going out on a massive binge every single Saturday night and you're drinking lots of really like high calorie drinks, let's say, and then that leads to you craving pretty rubbish food the next day, and you're then eating in a calorie surplus when you're trying to lose fat, I would say don't do that. If you feel like you have a good amount of self-control and you can do it in moderation, and maybe make drinks choices that are more suited to your goals. So as an example, if I was advising someone who's in a calorie deficit what to drink, I would say something like a vodka lime soda or a gin and slimline tonic, that kind of thing. In 2023 though, when I was going through my fat loss journey where I was actively trying to lose body fat, what I would try and do is set myself a drink limit. So go out and say I'm gonna have 2 glasses and then stop there and move on to non-alcoholic things. And it really helped me to have that cap for myself, and also to get to grips with non-alcoholic drinks, which I've definitely mentioned on here before, that I enjoy ordering on a night out because I was trying to avoid having too many diet sugar-free drinks. So the non-alcoholic, like I say, like non-alcoholic spirits, Pentire, I love a Pentire and tonic. So if we're having drinks at someone else's house, I would often bring that. So when everyone else is making their like 5th gin and tonic, I can move on to that, and then the next day I feel much fresher. I'm way more like on board with my goals, and it just really helped. Alcohol contains calories, so it is important to note that and just make sure that if your goal is fat loss, you are still in a calorie deficit if you're drinking alcohol. Now, the part where it's affecting your gut, it's not great for your gut. Alcohol is not, there's nothing about it that's good for your gut. So you're not drinking thinking this is going to benefit me. So you just want to make sure it's a decision that you're making because you gain something from it in terms of like enjoyment, you like the taste, you like the impact that it has on that social event, that kind of thing. You're doing it for that reason, and from my point of view, those reasons are also really important to make sure that you're living a life that you're enjoying and feeling fulfilled from, so that it's realistic for you to stick to your goals the rest of the time. So pretty much I would just say in moderation. But personally, I do drink. I just try not to drink to excess every single weekend. I love going out to eat. What do you normally do or opt for when you go out? I order whatever I want because I am not in a calorie deficit at the moment. I'm eating at maintenance calories. I personally feel like if you're going out for dinner once a week, even if you're trying to achieve fat loss, it's okay to order what you want to order. So for example, a pizza and a dessert. Where it gets complicated with eating out is if you're eating out multiple times a week, and in that case, I would say try and opt for things that are way more in line with your goals. I think a good example of this is Wagamama's in the UK. You can order a grilled chicken ramen, which is 500 calories, really high in protein, and it's super filling from the veggies in there, the protein in there, and the amount of broth in there. Or you can go to Wagamama's and order the yakisoba, which I also love, which is over double. So you can go out and make choices that are more in line with your goals. But I would say if you're going to Pizza Express and you're ordering a salad, that's a little bit of a sad way to be living, in my opinion. But if you are eating out multiple times a week, so for example, if you're someone that eats out a lot with your job and a lot socially, then making choices like that Wagamama's example can really help you. Where I think people often lose out on progress and then totally give up with their goals is they'll have one meal out and then have the mindset of, I've ruined all my progress, what's the point going back to how they were eating before? If you can eat out and accept it for what it is and be confident in the fact that having one pizza a week is not going to ruin all your progress, then you're good to go. It's that all or nothing mindset, I think, that can come from eating out that can ultimately hinder our progress. Through that period of time last year where I was actively trying to lose body fat, we were ordering a pizza takeaway every single week, and I was having at least one social thing that I was going to where I was having a couple of drinks, and I still made absolutely amazing progress. For me, a lot of it was just about getting rid of that all or nothing mindset and making sure the rest of the week I was super on it. Someone said, ab workouts please, and also are you in a calorie deficit? You look amazing. That's very kind of you to say. So no, I'm not in a calorie deficit. I am very much eating at maintenance calories. I do think it's always important for me to mention that after I was in a calorie deficit for probably, let's say, around 6 months, I then brought myself back up to maintenance calories by doing a reverse diet. So I now maintained my body shape. It's pretty much the same as it was when I was at the end of my cut, but I'm eating the same amount of food, if not more food, I would say, than I was pre-doing my cut because of that reverse diet period. So if you are trying to lose body fat and be in a calorie deficit, you don't need to do it forever. When you get to a point point where you feel happy with where you're at, as long as that's in line with being healthy as well, you then go through a reverse diet process. And that's exactly what I do with all of my clients at the end of their fat loss journey. So by the time they leave me, they are eating at maintenance calories. So a really nice, like very normal amount of food, but maintaining their body. Right, we've got a new battery in the camera. So that person also asked for abs workouts. And I just want to say that I could give you lots of abs exercises to do. My favorite ones are hanging leg raises, heavy reverse crunches, and I don't even know what they're called when you hold like a kettlebell or a dumbbell above your head and like do knee raises. I really love things that are focused on our deep core. But the reason that I have definition on my abs is actually genetic, and also down to the fact that my body fat is relatively low. My mum also has pretty good like core definition. So it is really important that you remember that when you're looking at people online that have good core definition, because it doesn't necessarily mean that if you did abs workouts, that's what you would look like. So I personally find that if I'm being consistent with training my core, I do get more definition in that area as well. Did losing weight or increasing your fitness affect your period at all? No, not at all. And I'm just going to put it down to the fact that I did it super slowly. I don't know if online it looked like it was a quick thing, but I would say it was like a 6-month period of time where I was just very gradually entering a calorie deficit and kind of making some adjustments anytime that I felt like I came to a plateau. But it was a really slow and gradual process. And the other thing to note is that I'm still at a perfectly healthy weight. I still have a really decent amount of body fat, and I would say that women often lose their period if they're putting their body under a lot of stress, which I wasn't doing. I'm gonna have to go because I've actually got probably something I actually want to speak to you guys about, but I basically started working with a personal trainer, sports rehab person. I don't know what I'd necessarily call him because he's way more qualified than like a regular personal trainer. But just on some really specific things that I need to work on, which is like my calf mobility, hip mobility, and also something with like range of motion on this side. So I'm doing a training session with him each week. He's really amazing and he lives very close to me. He's called James. You'll probably hear me chatting about him a bit more on my channel over the next few months, but I'm working with him because I've got a very big goal. It's definitely a conversation for another time, but I'm gonna go and do my session. But I will come back and we will do some more questions because there are loads more. I got back yesterday and it was just so dark and gloomy that I just thought I'll pick it up again today instead. So we've got nice light for the like 4 hours. There seems to be daylight in the UK. Now we're in November. But back to the question. So how to start with reducing ultra processed foods feels overwhelming. Now I do think this really depends on what your like main source for ultra processed food is. For me personally, when I started making these changes at the start of last year, I was finding that I was eating a lot of things like ultra processed bread, bagels, crumpets, tortilla wraps and things like that, as well as like the really obvious ones in my diet, which were like Coke Zero and White Monster. So if you're looking at reducing things like those, I would say they're kind of like two ways of doing it. One is finding direct alternatives for those products that aren't ultra processed. There are really good brands in the UK supermarkets, and I always forget the name of this brand, but it's Croster and Mollica, and they basically have things like tortilla wraps, flatbreads and things like that, which are not ultra processed. They're just made with simple ingredients, just like they should be, with things like flour, yeast, salt, water, olive oil, basically those kind of ingredients, and they taste absolutely amazing. They taste way better, to be honest, than the ultra processed kind of versions of them. So you can make direct swaps. I would say with bread, like heading more towards like a sourdough sort of loaf is a really good idea. Jason's is our favorite brand by far for things like that. They do such good products. They're available at honestly most of the UK supermarkets now, and their bread tastes absolutely amazing. They have lots of different types as well. So if you're after like little bread rolls or like sliced sourdough or bread that tastes like most similar to kind of that like ultra processed white bread, which I've actually never really enjoyed that much, but they do a loaf that is like really quite similar to that, but just made from super amazing ingredients. So there are direct alternatives to those things. But I would also say one of the things that I implemented was trying to make some swaps. So I was having more carbohydrate sources like sweet potato, butternut squash, like lentils, chickpeas, beans, those kind of things, grains, to replace some of those other things because they're just generally slightly more nutrient dense. So what I'm basically saying is you can replace it for non-ultra processed versions, or you can replace it for something that's also providing you with carbohydrates like those are, but just in a slightly more nutrient dense way. Then for me, the Coke Zero White Monster, to be honest, it was just a bit of like kicking a habit, like trying to reduce it over time, trying to find something that would kind of like replace it. But when I got back into drinking coffee again, I would use that as my kind of caffeine fix over White Monster. And then with Coke Zero, I will often opt for a kombucha instead. But to be honest, since really reducing those things, I don't really crave them anymore. So after going through that period of time that was like a little trickier, where you're like, oh, I really fancy one, but I'm trying to do what's right for my gut and for my overall health. After I got through that period of time, I then found that I wasn't really craving them anyway. But I do love a kombucha as an alternative. I'd also say that trying to figure out ultra processed foods is not as hard as you might think. It's just a case of doing your normal food shop, but reading labels. And if you recognize ingredients that you don't understand, trying not to buy those. Let's say bread, for example, if you're picking up your loaf of brown whole wheat bread and you can see a whole load of things that you don't understand, be like, right, that's ultra processed. Let's pick up a few more labels and figure out some ones in my supermarket that are non-ultra processed. But if you do have any products that you're like, I absolutely love this, it's kind of like a bit of a non-negotiable in my diet for me, and I really want to find a version of it that works better for me, you could drop it in the comments and I can always try and help you with it. How to eat high protein, vegan, gut healthy, not eating too many ultra processed foods and carb overload. Wow, that's a hell of a question. I have so many clients who are plant-based, and like I mentioned in the last question, this kind of follows on quite well from it. I would just say, if you are plant-based, you do need to be prepared to eat quite a lot of tofu and tempeh, because the reality is a tin of beans is not high in protein. Yes, in comparison to other plants, it has a decent little amount of protein, but it's not a high protein item of food in my opinion. So I would say it is necessary to eat a lot of tofu and tempeh, and I would say that if you're plant-based, having a good quality plant-based protein powder is a really helpful way to make sure you're hitting, even if you want to hit like 100 grams of protein being plant-based, it helps. The other thing to note, if you're vegetarian, I think it's easy because you have access to then like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese and things like that, which are just such an amazing way of getting really good quality protein, eggs as well. But when you cut things like that out as well, and those are all whole food source of protein, you're much more reliant on other things. So I would say being a little bit more lax on the ultra processed foods when it comes to being plant-based is probably going to be a good thing, even though I guess it's not the absolute most ideal thing to do for your gut. Also, another tip, blend silken tofu into sauces. If you're feeling a bit like this is tofu tempeh overload, blending it into sauces can be really helpful. There are quite a few questions on how I got into learning about gut health, which is something I do get asked a lot. They're like, where and how did you learn so much about your own gut health and nutrition in general? What resources, books, etc. did you read when you started learning about gut health? So I've actually not shared this story before, but I shared it on a podcast the other day, which if I remember, I will link down below, because I went on the Personal Best podcast and spoke about this. It's something that I've never shared online because, I don't know, I just haven't shared it online. I guess it's like a little bit more of like a personal thing to me. But one of the reasons I got into looking into gut health so much, I can't remember the first reason why I was like Googling things. I think I was at a bit of a point with my own gut health. I was like, right, come on, let's try something else. I think I came across an article or like a piece of research online. I then read Tim Spector's book, Food for Life, and that's like one of the first things that I read, which really sparked this interest in me. One of the first couple of chapters, and I'm gonna have to get a bit of info up on this just because I don't always know if I get the facts right because it's based on a study. But I was listening to it on Audible in one of the first few chapters. So in the book, he talks about a study done on patients with advanced melanoma, so skin cancer, which is how melanoma always starts, and patients specifically that have that and were given immunotherapy treatment, and looking at how they responded to the immunotherapy treatment based on their gut microbiome. So the outcome of this study basically looks at the survival rates based on healthy microbes, nearly doubled between subgroups. So pretty much saying that people who have gone through melanoma and have been given immunotherapy treatment and have healthy microbes in their gut are much more likely to survive this type of cancer. There's a lot more in the study, but I am listening to this as someone who has a mum who is currently going through this type of cancer. My mum was diagnosed a few years ago with secondary stage 4 melanoma, which had spread from a point of being skin cancer on her skin into her lungs, and was given immunotherapy treatment. I hadn't even heard of it at the time, and she has managed to come through kind of the worst of it. She's done super well from it, and has basically come through this type of cancer that has a really pretty low survival rate, to be honest, and they found it really late. And one of the things that I find interesting about my mum is she is someone who has an extremely healthy, extremely diverse diet. My mum was born and brought up in Kenya, and growing up, because she was exposed to so many different types of plants or just different foods, she would give us lots of things that I would just say were not particularly normal when I was growing up. So I remember being given like papaya for breakfast with like lime squeezed on it. She would do these like big salads with dinner that would have like walnuts and pine nuts and avocado, different types of lettuces, and just like lots of different things in these salads, which would constantly be adding a diverse range of plants, because that's what she grew up eating. And she's also someone that cooks from scratch. She's an amazing cook. She eats at home the majority of the time. She doesn't have a diet that's full of ultra processed foods. And I was reading this just thinking, that is not a coincidence to me. Like when we got the diagnosis, it was pretty terrible, and she is doing like extremely well. I was honestly listening to this audiobook being like, what the hell? Like I've never even heard someone else mention to me melanoma where it's spread into another part of the body. I feel like a lot of people just think melanoma just stays on your skin. And yeah, it was just quite a wake up call to me. I was like, maybe there's something more to this. The study's not huge, and there's lots more evidence that's going to come out in the next few years, but 50% of people, I believe, that are given immunotherapy for that type of cancer, the immunotherapy doesn't work. And my mum's has worked so incredibly well. So I listened to that and just thought, that is the power of a healthy gut microbiome. Let's see what I can do for myself. I would say that Food for Life is a really good place to start, and I keep meaning to read Tim Spector's other books. I believe he had one before that as well, but that really does go through lots of different foods and like the impact that they can have and different alternatives to foods, and I just found it really fascinating. What would you say the formula for a good gut-friendly meal is? I would say not containing ultra-processed foods, having a nice diverse range of plants, and also having a probiotic-rich food in that meal. Something like a really good quality sauerkraut, kimchi, maybe some kefir on it, maybe some yogurt that contains probiotics, some miso, as long as you're not cooking the miso. But those two things I would say make up a really good gut-friendly meal. Not that I think all your meals need to contain all of those things, but if we were creating the ideal meal, I would say those things. How long did it take you to see noticeable change when switching up your nutrition? It's really difficult for me to say because I can't actually remember, to be honest. I would say like a few months. I definitely noticed a reduction in bloating quite quickly. I'm gonna say to a point where I felt like I could eat more veggies and more legumes without feeling bloated after them, to the point where I was like really noticing it and really noticing a reduction in inflammation. Let's say 3 months. I think you need to really stick at it for a long time. Even things like your gut actually takes a little bit of time sometimes to get used to increasing the fiber in your diet. There's another question on here actually, which is how did you train your stomach to not bloat with lots of different veg, etc. It takes time. Like you need to be eating it like little and often, and your gut will get used to it. So even going through the changes that come from adding in more fiber into your diet to help your gut, but it can also cause a bloated reaction from your gut. Let's say 3 months. Preppable, high protein, whole food breakfast ideas. I have all my clients on overnight oats if they enjoy them, just because I really do think they're the best. You can mix them up as you wish to make sure they're ticking all the boxes for gut health. Mine have 20 grams of protein in, loads of different plants, and probiotics. So they're literally like a gut health work of art, let's say. The other one that I'd say though, I love egg bites. So I got this inspiration from the Starbucks egg bites, which I think taste amazing, but they're not the best for gut health, ultra processed reasons. And mixing up like egg with cottage cheese, lots of different plants, a little bit of cheddar or whatever, and then having them with a side of nuts. That's a really good breakfast. It's so easily preppable. You can eat them cold and they taste great, but you can also just heat them up in the microwave or the air fryer, and such a good on the go one. Do you ever get flare-ups anymore? Can you eat gluten? I would say no, I don't get flare-ups like they used to be. Do I get times where I get bloated? Yeah, absolutely, but I think there's an element of bloating that's normal. If you eat a huge meal, or for example, a couple of nights ago, I ate loads of sweets because we had them out for Halloween, and like a big hit of sugar in one go wasn't gonna make my gut feel amazing. There's an amount of bloating that's normal. I used to get bloating, or like flare-ups as I'd call them, from just like a normal meal, like a normal home-cooked meal, which is not normal. Top ideas for gut-friendly snacks. So I can tell you some of the snacks that I have my clients on in meal plans, which are non-ultra processed and generally high in protein, because I believe that protein and fiber make up a good snack. You need to have preferably both of them, but if not, just one of them. So nuts, they are a really great snack that have really great, benefits for our gut. Also chickpeas, I love air fryer crispy chickpeas. You can also do them roasted if you don't have an air fryer. Those two are amazing for the gut. I love cottage cheese. I think cottage cheese on rice cakes, I have those with some sliced tomatoes, basil, sea salt, drizzle of olive oil. They're a really great snack that's not ultra processed. Greek yogurt with some berries and a sprinkle of like seeds or nuts, that's a really great snack that's high in probiotics. Also a little smoothie, also some apple with some cheese, as long as it's like decent quality cheese. Like Baby Bells are actually a really great snack. A lot of people think that they're like a really ultra processed food, and they're not. I think they're like pretty much 100% just milk, but that's also a really good snack. I love the kind of savory sweet balance in that one. Last question, there are quite a few ones on my coaching, and I'm just gonna answer one of them. It's what most people are asking anyway. Coaching prices and what you get, please. So my one-to-one coaching, if you don't know, is like a bespoke coaching service where you work directly with me on a very intimate level. We also have Ellie, the amazing nutritionist, on the platform now, and very exciting, but we're actually bringing on another coach, which I will talk about soon, who'll be working very closely alongside me, all with the goal of giving my clients the best possible service ever. And we actually also have something new coming in January, which is going to be even more exciting and add a whole new element to it. I would say there are three main parts of my coaching. One is your workout program, which is totally tailored to you, your goals, where you like to work out from, your current ability, everything like that. The next part is your meal plan, which again is focused around your goals, how many snacks you like to eat in a day, what you like to eat, your nutrition requirements, your favorite foods you don't like, your goals, all those kind of things it's focused around. The third part though is around the education side of it. So my main goal is for every client to leave my coaching feeling equipped to carry on their journey when they're not working with me. So to really gain all the knowledge they need to help them on their own journey. One of the ways I do that is having a direct communication with clients. So there's a chat feature on the amazing coaching app that I use, which is honestly like the best of the best. So you can ask questions literally whenever you want and pick my brain about things. I love a good voice note and explanation. But also there's a whole section on the app which allows me to send out videos to clients on topics that I feel are really important for us to know about when it comes to nutrition, workouts, fat loss, muscle gain, general health, like hormone health, all these kind of things. And at the moment, it's myself and Ellie, our nutritionist, that puts out lots of information on there. For example, Ellie sent over a new one this week, which is on the link between gut health and weight management. So lots of really interesting topics on that. The ones that get sent out to you are all based on your goals and why we're working together. So it might be someone that comes to me and says, Annie, I get bloated all the time. I feel like my gut health is terrible and I'm in a bit of a cycle of eating things and I don't know whether they're bad for me or good for me, and I can help with that. It might be a big fat loss goal. You really want to work on your performance in the gym. You want to get your first pull-up, you want to run your first half marathon, or it could be a combination of all of those. But I really like to read on someone's application form their why, like why do they want to work with me on this? Because that needs to be strong for me to feel like I can take them on as a client. There are also lots of other things that come into it, like using the amazing app, being able to track your workouts. We've got weekly check-ins where we go through like progress photos and stats and things like that to compare progress. Honestly, I could talk about it for hours. And in terms of price point, it's very difficult for me to say exactly what that is because it does depend person to person. It depends on how long you want to work with me for and all those kind of things. But nobody that I work with pays less than £130 a month, because I would be completely underselling myself at that point, because you get a lot. But no one that works with me pays less than £130 a month. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a totally bespoke personalized service, and it's literally like having one-to-one access to me all the time. And for that reason, I only take on a limited number of clients as well. Also, if you do ever want some more info on what my coaching involves, the link will always be in the description, and there are loads of things like testimonials on the website, little insights into the app and things like that if you want to be able to visualize it a little bit more. And the inquiry form is also on the website if you think this could ever be something that you want to get involved in. I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I have answered so many questions, and I have a fear this video is going to be mega long, but I have promised for honestly like a year, and I know obviously I haven't posted on YouTube for so long, that I will do like a deep delve into my fitness journey and gut health. But I'm aware that there's probably so much more to say on it and detail to go into. So if you have anything else you want me to cover, it might be I just do like a 10-minute segment in the odd video on a topic, then I'll absolutely do that. Right, I thought I'd go through some product empties. Also, I never really film in like this spot in our ensuite, so sorry if it's a bit echoey. But what I usually do is let these product empties build up for ages and then do a little segment in a video, and then there are loads and I've got to store them for ages. So I thought I'd do them at this point where I've got some but not loads. So let's start off with moisturizers I've finished and loved. This one from Ren, the Ever Hydrate Replenish Cream. Oh, Marine. Oh my God, I was reading that as Noreen. I was like, what? Marine Moisture Replenish Cream. This was such a nice lightweight moisturizer. I love a pump bottle, but I just found this a really nice like daily moisturizer to put on under my SPF if I need it. In the winter, I do feel like I need a moisturizer under my SPF sometimes because my skin does get a little dry. Having said that, since I have changed my nutrition, and maybe this is something to delve into in another video, my skin is so much better in general, but it's so much less dry. Like it used to be so like crusty and flaky all around my nose, and it's just not like that. I feel like I'm honestly a different person. It's a whole thing. But that's a really nice lightweight moisturizer, not quite thick enough for me to use in the evening, just because like I said, I do have skin that's on the drier side. The Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, I feel like this gets a mixed rep. I feel like real skincare people, like skincare reviewers online, don't love it, and I just think it's maybe because it's a little on the pricey side, but I really love this. It's a really nice product, and it's thick enough for me to also use at night time. I think they do have like a night cream. Not that I've tried that before, but I really enjoy Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, and I've actually got another one that I've also been using. Next up, SPF. This is a funny one because I love this SPF, but the smell of it is a little weird, and Elliot can't stand the smell. Like if he comes up to my face and I've put this on without makeup on top of it and it still smells quite strong, he's like, oh, I hate the smell of it. But it's the Helio Care, I think is how you say it, 360 water gel sun cream. I have got no idea why this product is called water gel, because it's not even slightly gel-like texture. It's like a really, really runny liquid, but so lightweight, goes on under your makeup beautifully and sinks in really quickly, which is a big thing for me. And it's SPF 50, and I just really love it as a product, and I would definitely repurchase it despite the smell. So that's saying something. It's not, the smell's honestly not even that bad. It's just is a little funky. And it's really hydrating. I do find sometimes that really lightweight SPFs are not that hydrating. Next thing is I've got kind of three makeup products actually. This is the Lumine Invisible Illumination Liquid Bronzer. I have been using this, just a few drops of it all over my face, almost as like a skin tint, and I absolutely love it. I think it's such a nice product. So it's not like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter that's got like a bit of like a sheen. It's not like that. It's just literally gives your face like a little tint of color, and I just think it's so nice. I think it would look really nice if you mixed it into your SPF, but it's such a nice product and a really nice bronzy tone. I just think it's such a nice color. It's not too orangey. Next thing, mascara. I've been through so many of these, but it's the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara. If you have long eyelashes, which I do, and you don't want something that's going to be like too thick on your eyelashes, this is such a nice like lengthening, separating mascara. Like I said, I've been through so many of those, and I'm already halfway through another one. The Urban Decay All Nighter. This I started using just before Glastonbury, and I am not joking. I would get to the end of a day at Glastonbury. Oh, it makes me sad that I didn't vlog during Glastonbury time, but maybe next year if I get tickets again. And I get to the end of the night at Glastonbury and look in my mirror before bed to like take off my makeup. I would honestly think that it looked the same as it did when I went out for the day. This is literally magic, and please someone tell me why I didn't know about setting spray for years. It's a game changer. If I've got makeup on, I've always got setting spray on now, and I think I've only used it for like not even a year, which is really crazy to me. It also means it doesn't like transfer onto your clothes as easily. I bought this to test it out, and I'm now going through a whole big one. I keep refilling this for traveling, which is a really good little hack. Face wash. I use this all up because I don't like waste, and to me, face wash is like not the most important part of my skincare. As long as it's taking my SPF and makeup off well, I don't really mind, to be honest. So this is the Elemis Clarifying Clay Wash. It's a really nice product, and like I said, I've used the whole thing, but I would say it's definitely more suited for oily skin types. But lovely product overall, and like I said, as long as it's taking your makeup and SPF off, which alongside my oil cleanse at night time, it definitely was. I feel like, yeah, it's a pretty good product. I actually put this shower oil in my empties, whereas I'd usually just bin this because I feel like body wash is just a bit, yeah, it might have a nice fragrance, but you know, it's washing your body at the end of the day. But this, the L'Occitane shower oil, almond oil one, is so nice. Such a like luxury product, and I think it's just really nice if you've got drier skin like I do, but it actually cleanses you well, which I love. And we are on to our second bottle of this. This was actually kindly sent to me by the brand, and I've loved using it. This would be a really nice Christmas present if you want to get it in like a lovely set from L'Occitane. CeraVe Body Moisturizer. This, I bloody love it. It sinks into your skin so quickly, and I've probably spoken about this before when it's come to like empties and body moisturizers. One of the main things that annoys me about body moisturizers is the really thick ones. They're great if you're gonna walk around naked like this for like an hour for it to sink in, but who does that, especially in the winter when our houses are a little bit on the chilly side? I just need something that sinks into my skin really quickly, and then I can just get dressed in 5 minutes and get on with my day. So that's quite a big thing for me when it comes to body moisturizers, and this one is like that. It's like a really lightweight sort of gel-like texture. It sinks in quickly, but actually keeps your skin really hydrated, and I couldn't recommend it more. It's also fragrance free, which I think is really good if you've got sensitive skin. Right, I've just ordered something from, well, not just ordered it, it's just arrived from Vinted. Can you see me okay? Yes, I feel like we're a little wonky, but it'll do. And I keep seeing people wear Timberlands everywhere. Elliot bought himself a pair of Timberlands the other day, and I thought, I want a pair of Timberlands. So my first port of call with these things is Vinted, because it's great. And I got myself a pair of UK size 5 Timberlands. They've been worn once. They've got a little bit of a creasing here, which I don't mind because they're gonna get that as soon as I wear them anyway. Literally worn once for 20 quid. How good is that? So we'll see how I style these, but I think they're gonna look really cool with my Abercrombie jeans I keep wearing. And yeah, I'm actually really excited to put them with some outfits. I feel like they're lovely autumnal shoe, and yeah, like I said, I keep seeing people wear them. So maybe it's your sign to go and pick up a pair of secondhand Vinted or Depop Timberlands. I'm just gonna make myself some lunch, but this is literally where meal prep comes into its own. I feel like this video has really shown that. But just having my meal prepped tofu from I was about to say from last week, it's not from last week, it's from Sunday, with like a lovely sesame dressing, some sweet potato, I've got loads of veggies in the fridge, some dressing. It's gonna be a delicious lunch that's gonna take me literally 2 minutes to put together before I hop on a meeting. I need to show you this. I completely forgot. I feel like I really hope some of you are as excited about this as I am. I made my own kimchi for the first time. Literally buzzing about it. When I say it's 10 times more delicious than the one that I buy from the supermarket, I really mean it. I've honestly not stopped banging on about it, and I have eaten half the jar since Saturday, which I don't know if I'd recommend, but it's delicious and it was really easy to make. I think I've seen lots of videos on making kimchi, and people are making them in these like huge bowls with like, I don't know, it just looks like quite a lot of effort. But I just did one Chinese cabbage. That's the variety of cabbage you need to make like a more traditional one. Like just one, and it filled up this whole jar perfectly. You leave it to ferment out, just like not in the fridge, for 2 days with the lid off, and then put it in the fridge with the lid on. This tastes absolutely unbelievable. Like I've added it to so many meals. It was really easy. I'm definitely going to be doing it again. Maybe next time I can put it in one of my YouTube videos, but I just thought I'd show you that quickly. Also, on that note, you might have noticed I have got, they're actually like a dark reddy brown nails, which is totally unlike me. I've had a nude nail since we moved into this house and I started going to my nail person, Abby. So that's what, like 2.5 years. Literally haven't swayed from that. Maybe I have like one time, and I was like, get me in full autumn mode with these, and I actually really love them. Right, I'm just adding a little dressing, and then we have the easiest, quickest lunch ever, which is gonna taste absolutely amazing. I've added loads of greens, but also put some fresh coriander on top because herbs count as your plant varieties, remember? So I don't know how well you can see that, but we've got sweet potato, we have got tofu, we've got lots of kimchi, we've got cottage cheese for some extra protein because I didn't want to have like a huge portion of tofu, but I need a good amount of protein today to recover from my session yesterday. A ton of different greens, all different varieties basically. Some fresh coriander. The kimchi, by the way, is cabbage, carrot, and spring onion. They're the veggies I used in that. And then it's obviously like Korean chili flakes, and I can't even remember what else I put in it, but lots of other things. And then lemon tahini dressing, which is really nice and mustardy this week. I didn't actually weigh out the ingredients, so it's got a really nice like sweet mustardy taste, which it doesn't always have. But I'm gonna enjoy that for my lunch, and it will keep me mega full until we have dinner. I'm gonna sign off here, guys, because I'm conscious that this video I think has been really long. I'm hoping it's not like a 45-minute long one, but if it is, I hope you have enjoyed watching it regardless. Hopefully you got a lot from it. And yeah, let me know in the comments if there are any other topics you want me to delve into. But apart from that, I will see you in next Monday's video. Easy love.